live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on! I'm so upset! We are a 38-win team.
Oh, my God. I mean, are you kidding me?
You reap what you sow, brother.
Thank you. Nick in San Jose. I might need him to call in. I don't think he's up this early. If I was a Warriors fan, I wouldn't wake up at all today. Just stay in bed. Go to sleep. It's the new year, right? New year, but same old Warriors. I mean, you're up 18 with 6.5 to go. And you lose on a bank shot buzzer beater against Nikola Jokic.
It's disgusting to watch.
Thank you. It is. It is disgusting. I mean, listen, this is a sports talk radio show, so I was going to say I have no words, but then I'd get fired. So I need to have words to describe what I saw last night. It was embarrassing. Like, if I'm a Warriors fan at this point, I'm kind of embarrassed by all of these losses. Like, you're becoming a punchline with how many clutch games you play. What is it now? Like 25, 26 clutch games, something like that? Clutch game meaning they're, single digits, fourth quarter, late. And you keep blowing them. This is the fourth time they've blown an 18-point lead. Fourth time? Jason Mishler on the chat. He's already in his feelings. Warriors fans should be in their feelings. They should be upset, angry, sad. Because this is what happens when a dynasty begins to crumble. When you have an insert amount of young players, when the older players aren't contributing at a high level, you get brain dead moments like Stephen Curry. What the hell was he doing late in that game? Well, someone please try to tell me, what was that, the cross-court pass? What was he trying to accomplish there in that game? Denver 130, Golden State 127. Good morning to all you lovely people. 888-957-9570. That's the number to call or text the Comcast Biz text line. It's going to be a lot of Warriors here today on 95.7 The Game on a football Friday, brought to you by First 5 California. Visit first5california.com to learn 4 things you could do to overcome toxic stress. I urge Warriors to, probably not watch the games anymore when they're up 18-plus points. Because when that happens, you're probably going to lose. And they'll probably have an 18-point lead tonight against the Detroit Pistons. And you better not. You talking about losing games? It's one thing to blow an 18-point lead against the defending champions and the greatest player on the planet, Nikola Jokic. Don't you dare lose to the, 3-win team? Detroit Pistons? Don't you dare lose that game. Or heads will need to roll. Let's hear the final call.
Jokic lines up at midcourt. Murray trying to get a running start. Cannot. Jokic in the backcourt catches, dribbles on Looney. Jokic from the Chase Center side. Banked it in at the buzzer, and Denver wins the game.
There you go. Letting it rest there. The silence is deafening at Chase Center. Nikola Jokic, who had a hell of a game, as he always does. Actually, not as he always does, because last time he played the Warriors on Christmas, he did not have the best game. Had a great game at the free throw line, but offensively, other than drawing fouls, he couldn't do jack. Well, last night, ho-hum, 34 points, 9 boards, 10 assists, rebound shy of a triple-double, 2 steals, a block. Absolutely bodying Dario Saric late in that game. And the big talking point, I think, for a lot of fans at 888-957-9570 and on the YouTube and Twitch streams, because we are streaming all day long, 5 a.m. through 7 p.m. right here on 95.7 The Game. Monday through Friday. Just search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe, and it's all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. But Jonathan Kuminga sitting on the bench from, the 5:30 mark on the third quarter. Doesn't even sniff the fourth. And Steve Kerr, the head coach, after the game explaining, he's like, well, I thought Wiggins was playing great. Great. Andrew Wiggins, 27 minutes, 5 of 10, 11 points, 3 boards. Team worst, minus 14, by the way, in the plus minus. I know it's not the end-all, be-all, but that was Andrew Wiggins. And we know they can't be on the court together, Kuminga and Wiggins. But Kuminga was balling. Once again starting, got 19 minutes, less than anyone else. What did he do to deserve that? 5 of 7, 16 points, 4 assists, 4 boards. I mean, he's getting those assist numbers up. Like, that changes everything. That was an unselfish basketball team for 3.5 quarters. And then I don't know what happened. The decision-making with this team, it's mind-boggling at times. And maybe we shouldn't be surprised because it's been like this now for a season and a third of a season. As the Warriors fall to 16-18, 10-9 at home. They're almost a 500 team at home. Nuggets improved to 25-11. They're 11-8 on the road as the Warriors dropped 44 in the third quarter. They had a 44-24. It was DubCon 3, third quarter Warriors. I was seeing all the tweets, the X's, whatever they want to call them, all the messages, everything. Oh, wow, the third quarter dubs. It was nice to see that again. It's vintage dubs, only to get outscored 36-20 in the fourth. Like, come on. Steve, what went wrong?
I mean, I just give them credit. They really tightened up defensively, and then their guys hit some big shots. They got to the line. I thought Aaron Gordon was fantastic tonight. Really dominated the second half in the paint, especially the fourth quarter. And then Watson hits the big three. That was probably the shot of the game, and they did a good job getting stops. So I feel for our guys. That's a really tough one. I mean, our guys played great. And, 35 assists and 10 turnovers, and we executed most of the game, but just couldn't score and couldn't get stops in that last 5-6 minutes.
Couldn't score, couldn't get stops, had bad turnovers. And I'm looking at Mr. Stephen Curry in this. You can't have that happen. He spoke about, last game against the Magic, that mental lapse he had at the end of the first half where the enabled the Magic to get a 3-pointer after the Warriors just had their own. And he's like, I got to be better than that. The margin of error for this team, I can't be doing things like that. Well, you damn sure can't be throwing the ball away in crucial moments against the defending champions. It's one thing to let a young team, a team that with no expectations like the Orlando Magic with Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner being their best players. It's another to do that against the defending champion who have owned you, winning 8 of their last 9, another last 10 against you. And letting Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic hang around. I mean, the game shifted when Murray picked up that foul. Was that late in the third quarter? His fourth? And he had to ride the bench. And that's when the Warriors went on the run. Because Murray was cooking. 8 of 16, 25 points. Not from beyond the arc, but he was getting to the line. 8 of 9 from the free throw line. He had 6 assists. The dimes were there. Aaron Gordon. I mean, talking about riding with your guys and riding with your starting lineup. 35 minutes for Gordon. 30 for Porter Jr. 38 for Jokic. 32 for Murray. KCP, 35. And when Porter, who was only 3 of 6 for 8 points, not doing that, offensively, not doing a whole hell of a lot. He's got his size, though. KCP, we know what he does on Steph. Played a great game. That's why the Nuggets are the Nuggets and the Warriors are the Warriors. Warriors used to win games like that all the time. That used to be the Warriors. Now they're the ones blowing 18-point leads. When we used to make fun of those teams all the time, it's like, I mean, it doesn't get any better than watching the Warriors right now. Because at any point, hey, they're down 18. You know what? I'm going to go on Bovada. I'm going to go on DraftKings. I'm going to go on FanDuel. Put 50. Warriors coming back. We're winning this game. A lot of us were rich men and women after that, during all those runs, right? Not anymore. I would not touch a Golden State Warriors basketball game if I was a gambler. Not touch it. Because I don't know what I'm getting with this team night in and night out. And if you're a fan, 888-957-9570, it's got to be frustrating as hell. One step forward, two steps back. That was last year's Warriors. And it's bleeding into this year. Steph, what the hell happened those last 6 minutes?
What were we up? 16? 6 minutes left, whatever it was. Gordon and Watson hit some big shots. We got a little stagnant on offense. It's weird. We actually just watched the whole last 6 minutes. We were trying to milk the clock in certain possessions, and it started to play a lot slower than we had the whole game. And then you're subject to make some misses with their defense set. And then on the other end, they just made play after play after play, and we just couldn't get enough stops. Had too many fouls. Got into a free throw line. They made them, and then it comes down to a bad possession by me. Obviously throwing that pass. CP's open at the top. Never know how that plays out, and then basketball guys took over from there with Jokic's shot. So tough way to finish, with how we played the whole game.
Very tough. Tough to watch, as Sean Payton might say. And last time Steve Kerr played the Denver Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors played the Denver Nuggets, it was about the officiating. And this is what he had to say about it.
It's disgusting to watch. Thanks.
That's how I felt watching that game from a Golden State Warrior perspective last night. It's disgusting. Last 6 minutes there. And I didn't want to come in like this. I didn't. But I'd be pissed off, angry, insert negative emotion here if I'm a Golden State Warriors fan this morning. That is a game you just have to win when it's presented to you. 18-point lead on the defending champs at home. I don't care about Jokic almost having a triple-double, Murray, Gordon. You can't lose that game. And how many times have we said that for the Warriors this year? How many times? Probably half the losses. 16 and 18 right now. The season's not over. But the championship aspirations, if any fan still had any, throw that out the window. It's not a championship team. Not right now. Are you going to change that in a month? The trade deadline? I mean, are you just going to move off all these young guys when they're the ones that are playing well for the most part? Although, I would have liked to see some Jonathan Kuminga there in the fourth quarter. Just taking him out, I guess. Your starter, who was having a great game for Andrew Wiggins, and you rode with Wiggins. I mean, is Steve Kerr trying to find a pathway to get Wiggins back into the starting lineup? He doesn't deserve that. Great. You had an efficient night shooting the ball. 5 of 10. Good job, Andrew Wiggins. Well, was that his semi-good performance of the week? Come on, man. Come on. Here's more from the head coach. An 888-957-9570. That's the number to call or text. The Comcast Business text line. It's a Phil Collins Friday. It's a payday Friday. It was a feel-good Friday. Now, it's got a sour taste in my mouth. And it's not the black tea with honey. And you're asking Spadoni, why would honey have a bad taste in your mouth? I don't know. This honey's kind of weird. Smucker's honey. It's okay. Associate Smucker's with jam. Before I hit some of the sound, let's go to Carlos out in Hercules. What's up, Carlos? You're on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni.
What's up, Spadoni? How you doing, my man?
I'm frustrated watching this team.
Man, that's same here, man. Last night I was watching the game, dude, and I couldn't understand why Steve kept Kuminga out of the game the last four quarters. He's our third best player, and we kept him out of the game. That's my take. That's it.
That's it. And that's Carlos and Hercules. Appreciate it, Carlos. 888-957-9570. I think a lot of Warriors fans have been scratching their heads at a lot of these Steve Kerr decisions. And going into the season, this was the most important season for Steve Kerr in his future with the Golden State Warriors. A lot is riding on this season right now with Steve Kerr. Doesn't have a contract, and we saw how that went last year in upper management with Bob Myers. Didn't have a new contract heading into the year. He's now with ESPN. Insert Mike Dunleavy. Are we looking at a similar situation now with Steve Kerr for the rest of this year? I mean, outside of a Western Conference Finals championship type of run, I think he's gone. I think it's as simple as that. I think he's tied himself now to the success of the team extending his future. And does he even want to be here anymore? That's another question. I'm sure he'd say yes, but there's no new contract right now. I don't know how those negotiations are going, but it feels like those are going to be tabled now till the end of the year. And how are we feeling about this Warriors year? Because right now, they're projected. Are they even a play-in team? Looking at the Western Conference standings, I don't think so. Well, they're the 11th seed. Got the Lakers right above them. They're struggling too. Suns, which is kind of hilarious if you think about it. The three players that dominated the past decade might all be playing teams, might be gone in the playoffs. That being Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Stephen Curry. They're old. And when you have a chance to insert some youth to extend a run, you do that. And Jonathan Kuminga, I think, has earned that right with how he has played. Here's Steve Kerr on the decision not to put Kuminga back in.
Yeah, he was playing great, and his normal time to go back in would have been around the 5-6 minute mark. And Wiggs was playing great, and we were rolling. We're up 18, 19, whatever it was, and so we just stayed with him. And then at that point, it didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. He'd been sitting for a while, so I stayed with the group that was out there. Obviously, we couldn't close it out.
Obviously. So was you committed to him sitting for too long, and he'd been on the bench for too long, and now you just got to stick with Wiggins, who was fine yesterday. I'm not here to crush Wiggins or bash him, but, I mean, you need Andrew Wiggins to be your second best player, and it doesn't look like he's coming off the bench anytime soon. Looks like this guy's going to be glued to the bench for the rest of the year. He seems complacent about it, at least when he's on the court. I'm sure his emotions, I'm sure he would like to be starting. I mean, the guy's making that much money. He better want to be a starter. I mean, you were the second best player on a championship run, but that's looking like a one-off. So if he's going to be like that, I'd rather go with the young guy and the guy that, has the fire on the court to want to be a starter and continue to be a starter. And he deserved, with how he was playing in that game, to have a chance to close it. Instead, comes off late in the third quarter, never to return. It's just frustrating, top to bottom. I'm frustrated with Steve Kerr. I'm a Golden State Warriors fan this morning. I am livid at our golden child. Yes, I can even be upset about the greatest player in the history of our franchise and the history of the Bay Area sports, and Stephen Curry. It's a boneheaded decision he had late. It's okay to say it. Yeah, he was 5 of 12 from three-point line, which is not awesome if you're Stephen Curry. That's actually kind of a... Or are we still comparing it to the golden years? Like, I saw Steiny tweet this, and he's absolutely right. Our very own Matt Steinmetz, who doesn't tweet very often. Sorry, do I call it an X now? Yeah, the app formerly known as Twitter. But this is what he had to say last night. Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson were terrific tonight from the three-point line as a combination. 9 for 22, 41%. Then you start to think about how that's a below-average game for them 6 years ago. Couldn't agree more. Like that, we're used to the two greatest shooters in the history of the game. And while Steph has, continued on that pathway, He's still been playing at an elite level all year, all-star, starter kind of a level. Dropping 30 last night. And Klay played well last night. 24 points, 9 of 18, 4 of 10 from beyond the arc. It's good. It's just not great. And the more and more, the games and the losses pile up, wasting performances, good performances from Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. When the Klay Thompson games, the good ones, are hard to come by these days, that's even more frustrating. Podziemski on the bench. And Brandon Podziemski, by the way, this guy, he's a keeper. Not just in this league, but for this team. He is wise beyond his years, talking after the game, when he's on the court. Guy looks like he's been a 10-year veteran with the decision-making. Shasky, his comp in our chat was Manu Ginobili. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, that's kind of the stuff we're talking about. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, and Shasky's not saying he's a Hall of Famer now, but he shows the flashes of what Manu was to those Spurs teams, the energy, and he was off the bench last night. But he can be a spot starter if you need him to. The assists were up there, 5 assists. Efficient. And if he can continue that three-point shot, and he was 3 for 4 from beyond the arc yesterday, I mean, the sky's the limit for him in this league. And here's the rookie out of Santa Clara talking about what went wrong.
We fouled on defense, offense. We just forced the ball in Steph's hands and kind of just relied on him to take it home for us. Too many things.
He was also asked about all of the, quote, clutch games that the Warriors have played this year. And this is what he had to say.
I mean, a lot of them could be prevented. I think I just saw some that we've blown 4 games that we've let 18 or more in. A lot of them could be prevented. Plays here or there down the stretch. And even plays in the first half that you don't really think about because it's the end of the game that impact the outcome. We have a lot of those plays that tend to not go our way. And, our record reflects it.
Clutch time in the NBA is defined as minutes when the scoring margin is within 5 points with 5 or fewer minutes remaining in the game. That's a clutch game right there. And they've been in 28 clutch games this season out of 34. That's not where I want to be living at. I want to be living where I was for a majority of this game in the second half with a double-digit lead. Because as soon as you start making mistakes, especially against the defending champion, they're going to pounce on it. They're going to start getting more confidence on the defensive end. Defense leads to offense in this league, especially with this Denver Nuggets team who was long, big, athletic. And Nikola Jokic bodying guys late in that game. I mean, it's tough to watch when you're so used to having the best player on the court for a majority of this past decade, that being Stephen Curry. Like, no matter who else is on the other side. But, we've seen it within the last year or so. And you saw it last night. Nikola Jokic was the best player on the floor. He was making the shots. He was making the decisions. The assists to Gordon. The floaters. And then this.
Jokic lines up at midcourt. Murray trying to get a running start. Cannot. Jokic in the backcourt catches. Dribbles on Looney. Jokic from the chase center side. Banked it in at the buzzer, and Denver wins the game.
Tim Roy on the call, Tom Tolbert. I think Tom dropped his mic there. Listen to it one more time in disgust.
Jokic lines up at midcourt. Murray trying to get a running start. Cannot. Jokic in the backcourt catches. Dribbles on Looney. Jokic from the chase center side. Banked it in at the buzzer, and Denver wins the game.
I mean, are you serious? The buzzer, the shot, the team we're playing against, that guy, after you just had that performance on Christmas with the officials getting in the way, He goes and damn near drops a triple-double on you, and you knew he was going to come back in a big, big way because he played so lousy on Christmas. Yeah, they got the win. He went to the line 18 times, but it was not one of the best Nikola Jokic games we've seen. So you knew he was going to come in here fired up. Well, as fired up as Nikola Jokic. And by the way, that's probably the most emotion I've seen from him in a long time after hitting that game winner. And then you saw him walking away and all the boos he got, and he's like, I know it's the home of the Warriors here, but God, I love me some Nikola Jokic. Guy's just a baller, makes the right plays. He sees the floor better than any big man I've ever seen. Guy's got eyes on the back of his head. He's an owl spinning his head around, hitting all these guys. And his fingerprints were all over this comeback. All over it. Juxtapose that with Stephen Curry on the negative aspect. Two opposite ends of the spectrum on affecting the game late. In a positive way, Jokic, negative Steph. We're up against it. More of your calls, more of your text. What the hell's going on with the Warriors? What's the emotion you're feeling right now, Warriors fans?
I don't know.
That is an emotion. Is it anger? Is it disgust? Are you fed up? 888-957-9570. It's the pregame show, Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV.
Welcome back. It is a Phil Collins Friday. Warriors lose a heartbreaker to the Denver Nuggets after having an 18-point lead, a little over 6 minutes to go in the game. 130-127 the final. Dubs fall to 16-18 on the year, 10-9 now at home. Their fourth loss this season when having an 18-plus point lead. They've lost 4 games this year. They have an 18-point lead. It's just... Okay. This is what I want to talk about. And, throughout his career, and he's a made man, he's top 10 player of all time. One of the greatest. He's the greatest shooter of all time. And when it's all said and done, he may be a top 5 player. Some already say he's a top 5 player of all time, that being Stephen Curry. But in a game like that, when you desperately need a spark, you just won a game, you're trying to get to 500, it's a massive swing game because there is a mental hurdle to building off and getting to 500 when you have the worst team and one of the worst teams in NBA history headed your way on the back end of a back-to-back, which should be a layup. Although, after last night's debacle, maybe they play angry and then they destroy Cade Cunningham and Monty Williams, the Detroit Pistons. Great. Congratulations. You better win tonight. But having that opportunity yesterday to win that game and have a very good chance at winning 3 in a row, getting a game over 500, then you got Toronto coming up, right? You start looking at your schedule. It's like, all right, I got the Pelicans, wrap up the homestand. Then the road trip isn't too daunting. Yeah, you got the Bulls, okay. Then the Bucks, they're tough. Although they just, Wembanyama and the Spurs just took them to the wire. So Grizzlies, Jazz, okay, they're not very. So you start looking at the schedule, and then I stopped myself. I was like, you can't play the schedule game anymore. This team has not earned the right to look ahead and say, they should go this, they should go that. I don't know what the hell they're going to go. They don't deserve that. That's reserved for teams right now like the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Clippers, the Celtics, the Bucks. Those are the teams that could play the schedule game and start saying, we can get fat and happy here. Oh, we just lost this, but this is coming up. They can do that. And within the last 5 minutes of that game, it's just, I need my star player to carry me. I need him to be the unanimous MVP. I need him to carry everything like he's carried this entire organization on his back the last few seasons. I needed that win from Stephen Curry, and I didn't get it, and I'm pissed off. Now, it's easy to point to the head coach, Steve Kerr, Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, and everyone else. Draymond Green, are we going to blame him? Some people blaming Draymond for not even playing in the game. I guess we could always blame Draymond, the indefinite suspension. But I needed my star player to carry me, like I saw Nikola Jokic and the Denver star player carry that organization the last few seasons. And last night, when he did this.
Jokic lines up at midcourt. Murray trying to get a running start. Cannot. Jokic in the backcourt catches, dribbles on Looney. Jokic from the chase center side. Banked it in at the buzzer, and Denver wins the game.
And prior to that, he was bodying Dario Saric. He was making all the winning plays. He had the assist to Gordon. Aaron Gordon, by the way, good to see that he's healthy. Remember a couple weeks ago he had like that report? Or was it just like last week? He had like a dog bit him or something like that, and he had like 20 stitches or whatever. He looked fine to me. Obviously, a homecoming to the Bay Area for him. MIDI graduate. Aaron Gordon was a baller last night. 35 minutes, 11-17. 30 points. 9 boards. 5 offensive. Going up against the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA in the Golden State Warriors. Aaron Gordon dominating the paint. That's where size matters. Going up against a team like Denver. Stephen Curry, after the game, talking about the team with all these clutch losses.
But each of them are for different reasons. Like the King-Sacramento game was a bunch of turnovers. This one was just one with subpar offense and defense for a sustained 5-minute stretch. The other games for different reasons. This is just the nature of the season right now. So I don't know. You don't want to be in a position where you're having to explain away bad losses, but that's who we are right now.
888-957-9570, the number. Warriors fans, Bonte and I were talking about the other week with the Draymond Green suspension, the indefinite suspension. Use one word to describe the Draymond Green situation. What's the one word to describe that loss last night? Disgusting, upsetting, understandable, because that's just where the team is. Like, what's the word you're using right now to describe that loss? 888-957-9570. It's the pregame show. Joe Spadoni. Good morning to all you lovely people. I want to say it's a feel-good Friday, but it's a Friday. Warriors back in action tonight, though. Taking on the Detroit Pistons. Coverage of that starts at 6 o'clock with Warriors Live. Evan Giddings will have that started. Great job with Mark Grandy filling in last night. Doing a hell of a job on Niners, on Warriors coverage. So shout out Mark Grandy. Shout out Evan Giddings, who will be on Warriors Live at 6 o'clock tonight. And then you got the great Tim Roy on the call at 7. Klay Thompson, after the game, asked if there is a common thread with these late game losses.
I don't know. I think we have the ability to close, and I think the silver lining is that there have been a lot of games like this. Therefore, there's no reason to let doubt creep in. Let's just learn from it, dissect the film, and learn how to close, because I wholeheartedly believe in this team, and we're obviously without one of our best players, and it'll help very much when Draymond comes back. We'll figure it out.
Will it? I mean, is Draymond coming back going to solve all the problems? Because you had problems with him. I mean, you were basically like the same team with Draymond out there. So I disagree with Klay there. That's going to solve all the problems. Now, would he have helped last night? Sure, maybe. I don't know what I'm getting with Draymond every night, though. He's lost that benefit of the doubt. Before we hit the break, let's go to Charlie, who's out in the NYC. What's going on, Charlie? You're on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I just wanted to add to the word I would use, or it's more 2 words. It's over. This formula that they're trying to go forward with is not working any longer. Let's be honest. This dynasty is over. So there's no trade that can be done this year, a Siakam or whomever, that would turn this team into a championship contender. They need to stick with the youth. They need to move on from what I would do. You trade Draymond. You try to trade Draymond. You move Chris Paul. You play the youth, and you move forward with the youth. You offer Clay the same deal he was offered in the offseason, which he may or may not take. And you explain to Curry, listen, the dynasty is over. We want to keep you. I've been a fan for 45 years. Not that that matters, but I've seen a lot of bad Warriors basketball as well as great. And I will root for this team long after Curry is gone. But you explain to Curry, listen, this is over. This dynasty ran longer than most dynasties. We want to go with the youth movement. And maybe in 2-3 years, when you're in the twilight of your career, we maybe can make another deep run. If you do not want to be a part of that, and God, I know I'm going to get lambasted for this, but, tell us what you want. But this formula is no longer working. The league is, someone called the wrap-up show last night and said the league is going back to height and size. And you look at teams like OKC and Minnesota, and that's what the Warriors need to do. They need to keep Kuminga, and what they're doing with Moody is criminal, and go with the youth movement and move on. And it's going to rip. You got to rip the bandage off. And go. And it's time to retool, rebuild, and whether that keeps Kerr and Curry in the mix. Listen, I want Curry to retire a Warrior more than anyone else. But there's nothing that can be done this year that's going to turn this team around. There's they're old, slow, and small. The three, like an Animal House, drunk, fat, and stupid. That doesn't help. They are not built to be competitive in this league currently. They need to catch up with the times. Now, I don't know if Dunleavy has something in the works, but they need to move on with these guys. And listen. I think there's an avenue to get them really good again in the next year or two. But what's on the court now, it's not working.
I got you.
Longer.
Thanks, Charlie.
Anyway, that's all I got, buddy. See you later.
Appreciate you, Chuck. That's Charlie out in NYC. No, he's a diehard. Charlie was a long time, when I first started working here doing Warriors This Week with Steiny on Saturday mornings. Charlie was always one of the first callers to call in out in New York City. We're up against it. One more segment. On the other side, more of your calls, more of your text. One word to describe that Golden State Warriors loss. What would it be? Charlie used two. He says it's over. I mean, the dynasty is. This season, what does over mean? Over being a championship contender? It's just, you got to blow it up. What does that even mean? 888-957-9570. It's the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
Hey, San Francisco.
97.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Even that Warriors loss, it brings a lot of us down. You just need to hear Easy Lover by Phil Collins, though. We're feeling all right. Welcome to the pregame show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We got one more segment here before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. I think it might be a 4-hour Warrior day for the most part. I'm just going to go throw out a guess there. A lot of calls, a lot of anger. Nick in San Jose. I'm going to need hear from him today. All the heavy hitters. Start lining them up, 888-957-9570. One word to describe that loss last night when this happened.
Jokic lines up at midcourt. Murray trying to get a running start. Cannot. Jokic in the backcourt catches, dribbles on Looney. Jokic from the chase center side. Banked it in at the buzzer, and Denver wins the game.
The mic drop from Tommy T there. Prior to that, this play from Steph. And I think it just encapsulates the game, the nutshell, maybe the Warriors season. Jokic hits that shot. Best player in the league. Best player on their franchise. Before that, you had Stephen Curry, best player, Bay Area sports history, not just the Warriors franchise. Greatest shooter of all time. Greatest decision maker of all time? Probably not. Has a lot of hardware, has a lot on his resume. The clutch moments for Steph, though, some of the times, he does this.
Curry comes middle, gets Jokic, MVP on MVP. Curry tried to drive, double pass, stolen by Murray with 4 seconds with 3. They don't call timeout, they do. Michael Malone calls timeout, a cross-court pass with the game on the line. And Denver will have the last shot with 3.6 to go in the game.
Oh, they were in their bag last night on the broadcast. Tim Roy and Tom Tolbert on the call there. Right here on 95.7 The Game. You're home for Golden State Warriors basketball as they take on the Detroit Pistons tonight, 7 o'clock tip there. 6 o'clock, Warriors live with Mark Grandy last night doing a hell of a job. Evan Giddings tonight for Warriors live. Oh, that's just such a brutal turnover. Brutal. Which could be the one-word answer of how he felt about that loss. Brutal. From the Comcast Business text line. I always do this. If you're on Twitch and YouTube, we are streaming on Twitch and YouTube. Just search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. I have one monitor that's touchscreen, and then the other two are just normal, but it always throws me off when I go to touch it and it doesn't work. And it just is what it is. Debauchery, pissed. Do I even read the text messages? JD, 510. I do. I just did. I'm over Kerr, 925. 209. Joe, I had hope last night the Warriors would do it. And I look at the facts and hope I seen the game slipping away. That's Dylan. 510. One word. Reality. Back to life. Back to reality. That's how you felt. (888) 957-9570. You thought you were over it last year. We were told that anyways. I wasn't falling for the banana in the tailpipe, that the dark cloud was all of a sudden magically disappeared because Jordan Poole has now been shipped off. Yeah, Jordan Poole was the problem. He was the problem with the Warriors last year. He was It was all him, right? It was all his fault. The guy that got punched, it was his fault. There was a dark cloud over the organization. His fault. And then this season, what's going on then? Who are we pointing the fingers at now? Draymond? He wasn't in the game last night. He didn't play in it. Are we blaming him for that? Okay. Indefinite suspension. And according to the latest report by Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, looks like he's going to start ramping things up soon with the Golden State Warriors. This, again, via Adrian Wojnarowski. Golden State's Draymond Green, on an indefinite league suspension since December 13th, is expected to return to the Warriors facility in the coming days to start ramping up to resume play again. Sources tell ESPN and Adrian Wojnarowski. Green will miss, and this is a quote tweet, quote X, whatever the hell you want to say it. Green will miss his 11th game, and conversations are still ongoing about when he will return from the suspension, sources said. His return is getting closer, though. So, don't know when he's going to return. Just know that he is allowed to practice with the team. So, when the suspension was handed down, one of the caveats was, hey, he's still allowed to do practice with the team, which I thought was interesting. But I guess if their whole thing is, they want him to get his mind right, they didn't feel keeping him away from his teammates would aid that. So, Draymond Green, is it a good thing he's coming back? I don't know. What are you going to get from him? I mean, when he was on the court, it was a lot of good, but also a lot of knuckleheadery, if you will. A lot of dumb decisions. So, are we all of a sudden going to expect that to change? We'll see. And at what cost? Because there's always cost when it comes to this. And we saw it last year when Andrew Wiggins was gone for a few months and then reintegrated into the lineup. Other players are going to have to adjust or get benched. And we saw it last year with Jonathan Kuminga, who, by the way, was having a hell of a game last night. And after getting pulled late in the third quarter, didn't sniff the rest of the game. Moses Moody, another DNP. I mean, he's traded, right, at the deadline. He's gone. I think you could lock that in. I would be shocked if Moses Moody was still here after the trade deadline. You can lock it in for me. He gone. And I would want to be gone if I'm Moses Moody. He'll never say that because he's the consummate professional. He does things the right way. Wise beyond his years. Very smart emotionally. And obviously on the court with his decision making. But he wants to be out of here. Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, I know it's easy for us to tell the guy, hey, just get over it. You're in and out of the starting lineup. You're getting pulled at key points in the games. Stop crying, stop bitching and moaning after the game to the media on what you can do, to change that. But you know what? That stuff's real. The constant lineup changes, getting pulled late in games, you're seeing that happen right now, and I get it. It's different situations. Steve Kerr has won 4 championships. But look what's going on down in Los Angeles with the Lakers. Darvin Ham, the latest reports there, that the locker room is kind of fed up with them because of the constant changings and tweaking to the starting lineup, to the closing lineup. No one knows their role outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Those are the only 2 mainstays, and they've been playing pretty damn well. And they're a game below 500. So there is something to sticking with a starting lineup and a closing lineup. There is something to that. And it's taken Steve Kerr, some time here to get with the program and realizing the old starting 5, it just wasn't getting it done. So he's mixed and matched. He brought in Pajemski. That worked well. And then we got Chris Paul in there. We've had Trace Jackson Davis, Kuminga. So he's mixing and matching, but you got to find something that sticks. And when Draymond Green returns, That's going to throw a whole monkey wrench into the entire situation. So a lot of question marks, obviously, and the Warriors hoping to get back on track. They better. Don't you dare lose to the Detroit Pistons tonight. And they'll be lucky that we don't have to talk about it on Monday because they got the Raptors. We'll have that game to react to, as well as Sam Darnold versus Carson Wentz. I don't know how much time we're going to spend on that. But don't lose to the Detroit Pistons. Morning Roast up next. Paul Taylor, Joe Shasky. Have a good weekend, everybody.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco.